Women who are great mothers and are doing it right will always understand why other women might choose to be childless. I said what I said.
I'm a mom. I always planned on being a mom. I never could fathom not having children. And I learned so much from the child-free by choice people. Because what y'all are effectively doing is pointing out the fact that you have given intentional thought behind procreation. Whereas a lot of people don't realize until after they've had kids that they never really considered the choice to not. And I don't mean that from the standpoint of regretting their children. I mean, they went into parenthood ill-equipped, ill-prepared, and pretty recklessly, honestly. Then along comes a child-free by choice person, listing out all the reasons you've decided to not have children. And the parents realize we never created our list for why we want to.
Listen, I have 3 kids of my own. First one was an accident. Second one was an accident. Third one was an accident. I love my children. I can't explain it, how I would literally die for them in a heartbeat. I didn't think I would ever love something so much. And I didn't even think I wanted to be a mom. And literally, I cannot imagine my life without them. But if you don't have kids, don't do it. Don't do it. I just got a notification on my phone that my bank account was overdrafted. So that's why.
Let's talk about people who are child-free by choice as a 24-year-old mother of 2. I could never dream of telling someone who doesn't want to have children all the reasons that they should have kids. Because the same way that social media is a highlight reel, if you're trying to convince someone to do something that you love, you're just going to tell them the good things. And kids are hard. Parenting with someone, whether you're married to them or not, is hard. It changes every aspect of your life. In the same way that I could not imagine living a life without having children, I can imagine that that's the way that child-free by choice people feel about having children. At the end of the day, people want different things, and that's the beauty of life.
What is with this trend of childless by choice women who are ranting about how great their life is without children and how crappy they think it would be with children?
So I got pregnant with and had my first child when I was 36 years old. I've always wanted children. I remember being a little girl and writing the names of my future children in notebooks, names that I thought were beautiful, for girls, for boys, for twins, you name it. I was on it as a child. But I also knew from a very young age that it would be a very long time until I had children, because there were certain things about the way that I was raised regarding the parenting that I received and the environments that I was forced to live in because of poverty that I did not want to recreate with my own children. And I'm really glad that I waited. I have a child that I love with a person who I love, who is a very active, hands-on father, and I love everything about being a mother. It is just as great as I thought it would be way back when. However, motherhood is incredibly exhausting. And if you don't want to be a mother, it can be the biggest source of resentment in your life to give so much of your life, your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, your money towards another person. A lot of mothers don't say this because they're miserable, and rather than thinking about the thought processes and the decisions that led them to the place they are, or thinking about the things in their life that they can actively work on and change in order to make motherhood more enjoyable, or to simply enjoy their time with their children more, they would rather sell child-free women subscriptions to the same misery. Here's the truth that most mothers are not going to tell you. Motherhood that they got and the motherhood that they signed up for are not the same. Children are some of the biggest triggers you will ever have. If there's any unhealed wounds or any unmet needs that you have, looking into the face of your child and having to confront their needs and their individual personalities is going to trigger the fuck out of you. If you're an introvert, if you're autistic, if you have ADHD or any combination of the above, taking care of a child, especially a newborn in their formative years, is going to be so incredibly emotionally and energetically draining. You will be touched out by the end of each day, and you absolutely need a break from that child in order to recharge and be at your best and highest functioning for the days to come. Last but not least, raising a child is like a marathon. And if you do not have the proper support system with your partner, with your extended family, with your circle of friends, you're going to be running that marathon at the pace of a sprint. If you think your life would be crappy with children, chances are it probably would be. You probably might not get the support that you want. And since we live in a capitalist culture, you will absolutely be getting bled dry financially with those children. So if you don't want children or you're on the fence about them, then don't rock the boat. Stay in the status quo and live your best life.
Women aren't becoming moms anymore because it sucks. There's literally no incentive to become a mom anymore. Honestly, I'm not really sure that there ever was, but there certainly isn't now. Let's just start with pregnancy alone. For most women, it's horrible. There's not great health care. Once the baby is born, there's no parental leave, at least not paid anyways. Most women are forced to leave their babies after about 10 weeks. Most women also aren't checked up on in regards to postpartum depression and anxiety except for once, and that's in their 6-week checkup. Even though you can suffer from postpartum depression and symptoms of it for up to a year. And honestly, I think longer than that. The cost of living is astronomical, which means the cost of childcare is astronomical. If you're lucky enough to have a spouse who makes enough money that allows you to comfortably be able to stay home with your child, that's almost unheard of. And on the other end of the spectrum, sometimes childcare costs so much, it's more affordable for you to stay home than it is for you to go to work and pay for a child's daycare. There's practically no support whatsoever. There's no guarantee that the man that you married is going to, in fact, be an equal partner after your children are born. Statistically, we know that. Statistically, we know that mothers carry 2 times more of the domestic labor burden than men. We also know that that directly affects their mental health in terms of depression and anxiety. Now let's move past all of that. Let's talk about going to school, sending our kids to school in America right now. There's a high probability that they could get killed by an active shooter. And that's terrifying. And what's even more terrifying is that nobody fucking cares. Nobody in power gives a fuck. God forbid you have a daughter, because she's likely not going to have any bodily autonomy. She's not going to have any rights to her body. I wouldn't want to have a daughter in this day and age right now. You couldn't pay me to. Honestly, you couldn't pay me to have another kid right now, period. But let's also just move on from all of the shit that comes along with having kids. And let's talk about why you feel women's only purpose in this life is to bear children. Why can't they have fulfilling lives outside of that? Why are women's only source of fulfillment supposed to be from children? Because it benefits you, it benefits men, it benefits the economy, it benefits capitalism. When women stop having babies, it no longer is beneficial to a patriarchal society, i.e. you, a man. So when this world and this society makes it more enticing for women to have children, maybe they'll consider it, or maybe they won't, because you don't have to have kids in order to have a fulfilled life.
I'll give you one for the list. I know the child-free girlies have a list, and I'm not a child-free girly. I have 2 kids, but I think that it is our obligation as women, as feminists, to support each other in choosing to either have children or choosing not to have children. So I'm happy to contribute to the cause. My oldest is 6, my youngest is 4. That means that I gave birth for the last time 4 years ago, and I am currently on a wait list for a surgery to fix being stitched up incorrectly. And apparently it's not even that uncommon. My doctor said that this happens to lots of women, and you end up having to go and get it fixed, and it can be painful for lots of people. And yeah, so it never ends.